let's meet their neighbours. This is Mary and Brian. And she's sick of his lies and he's sick of her crying. In fact, if we're being honest, they're sick of the sight of each other and there's no point in trying. They haven't been happy in years. Now Jane never knew she had a body like the forest in the rain, but she felt all that change when she heard Brian say her name. And now shame is ripping through her belly and her brain, leaving her in pieces with her secrets to contain. You know, lust, heavy in her hands, in her guts. The trust was once there, now it's gone all crushed. Her marriage was robust, to the point it was gathering dust. But now her blood gets hot at the thought of his touch, and it's no big deal, it's just a crush. Just one night, this can't be love. But nights, weeks, months, it's good. She's such a fool, she hates the things she does. She tries to call a stop to it. She wakes up in a fever, sick for loving, she cannot sit still. She's getting changed, the panic, thrill, the chill. She's lipstick in the cab, she's at the hotel bar, she's had a couple, now she's smiling, touching. Tonight we are not wives or husbands, tonight just us, just this, just crush me, finish me tonight, man, love me. Poor Kevin. See him, dignified, resolute, head down, a monument to the cavalry of men who have never let down a friend. See him, eyes strained from staring too long at her empty chair while she gives herself away. And he knows it, he feels it all day, but he can't say. See him, majestic in smallness and quiet and no fuss, the boulder that won't budge. He crumbles inside but stays robust, supportive. Ah, Kevin, your altar is covered in moss, the inscription's distorted, embossed long ago. It read once, stay true, even if others do not. Kevin breaks through the rock of his silent self-loathing. He climbs into his clothing and he heads out for work. And nobody told him to live life this way. But this is his calling. Not romantic, enthralling, not frantic, not falling head over heels, more clawing, one hand at a time up the precipice, fighting for breath. Kevin, a god who knows better than most how to settle for less. Bright sunlight through his windscreen. Brian is driving home. He just left Jane sleeping in that hotel bed. Well, now it's keys in the door, and Mary's shoes are on the floor, and their son's playing war games on the carpet, and Brian is bored of his life. He stares at his wife. Now she's got a question on her lips, and she don't want to ask it. She can't help it. Here it is. She says, "Where have you been?" And her eyes are full of dread and jealousy. Brian kicks off his boots and he sits down heavily. "Out," he says, and she stares. "Out where?" "Just out," he says. "Do we have to?" And prayers are not spoken in silence so total. "Don't push me," he tells her, and she knows she better leave him be. So she sighs inwardly and she gets up slowly. Here are 3 souls under one roof and they're all lonely. 'Cause Brian shouts at Mary and Mary shouts at Clive, and little Clive just soaks it up with wide eyes. Now Jane's baby was born in the hospital that winter at dawn, and he had a full head of hair and eyes that were warm and inquisitive, the same color as the skies in the middle of a storm. With deliberate patience, the baby grew, going through the kind of everyday things that everyday babies do. Now Kevin was delighted, excited. He was like a changed man, overjoyed and entranced every time he held his boy in his arms and promised him, "Son, I'm gonna be the best dad anyone has ever been," not thinking for a second that he wasn't. But gradually, suspicion started sinking in. "You ain't got no dimple in your chin." But Kevin says nothing. He nods and he grins. And Jane stares at the back of his shoulders in bed. And he's facing the wall. And she's facing her fall from grace. And her heart's aching and breaking and small. And her mouth's full of this awful taste. Oh, but the thing is, working out right from wrong is never easy. When there's no justice and when there's no morals, and if everything is weighed on the